Let me tell you something that took me years to understand. Most traders think discipline is willpower. They think it is about being tougher, grinding harder, forcing yourself to follow rules through sheer mental strength. I believed that for 3 years, and I failed. Over and over. Not because I was weak, but because I was fighting the wrong battle. Discipline is not about being stronger. It is about making the right thing inevitable. These 10 habits did not help me become disciplined. They forced me. They removed choice. They made failure harder than success. And that is the difference between trying to be disciplined and actually being disciplined. Your habits determine who you are. And if you make the habits that will take you to the person you want to be a part of your daily life, you will become that person. That is all. Let's begin. Habit 1. Voice memo to future self. This might sound strange, but it changed everything. Here is how it works. Before you enter a trade, you pull out your phone, you record a voice memo. You say out loud why you are entering, where your stop is, where your exit is. And then you say this: if I move this stop, if I adjust this exit, if I break this rule, future me, you are a clown. You are violating your own plan. Do not do it. Then you save it. And here is the magic. When you are in the trade and emotions hit, when you want to move your stop because the loss feels unbearable, you play that recording back. You hear your own voice, calm, rational, telling you exactly what you planned. And something happens. You cannot lie to yourself anymore. You cannot pretend you are making a smart adjustment. You are breaking your word to yourself. Across time. I started doing this after I blew a profitable week by moving one stop. Just one. I was so angry at myself. So I recorded the next trade, and when I got tempted to move the stop again, I played it back. I heard myself say, "You are a clown if you do this," and I could not do it. Not because I suddenly had more discipline, because the cost became real. Because accountability across time is more powerful than willpower in the moment, and it forces you to be disciplined. You must build paths that will force you to be disciplined and feed those paths neurologically, meaning do it again and again. After a while, you will condition yourself to be disciplined even if you do not want to. And being disciplined will become your normal. Make the cost of breaking your discipline so heavy and be so aware of this cost that breaking your discipline becomes impossible. That is the point. Habit 2. Betting against yourself. This is reverse accountability, and it works because pain is a better teacher than gain. Here is the setup. You pick something you hate: a rival sports team, a political cause you despise, a charity for something you do not support, and you make a deal with yourself. Every time you break a specific rule, you donate $100 to that thing. Not to something you like, to something that makes you feel sick to give money to. I chose my rival football team. Every rule break, $100 to them. And let me tell you, the first time I almost broke a rule and remembered that bet, I stopped cold. Because losing money hurts. But giving money to something you hate, that is a different level of pain. It makes you viscerally uncomfortable, and that discomfort is stronger than the temptation. I have broken that rule twice in 2 years. Twice. Because every time I get close, I feel the pain before I even do it. And I choose differently. Not because I am disciplined, because I engineered a consequence I cannot tolerate. Inevitably, I forced myself to be disciplined, or choose a physical cost, like taking a cold shower. If you are someone who hates taking cold showers, do this every time you break your discipline. Punish yourself, and you will start being disciplined to avoid suffering the punishment, whether you want to or not. Habit 3. Physical movement after every trade. Win or lose, the moment you close a trade, you stand up. You do 10 push-ups, or you walk around the room, or you do 10 jumping jacks. It does not matter what the movement is. What matters is that you physically interrupt the pattern. Most traders go straight from one trade to the next, especially after a loss. They feel the urge to make it back immediately, and that urge leads to revenge trading. But if you force yourself to move your body, something shifts. The emotional charge breaks. Your nervous system resets. You are no longer in the same state you were in when you closed the trade. I discovered this by accident. I closed a losing trade and felt the familiar pull. Just one more. I can make it back. But I had to use the bathroom. So I got up, walked away. And when I came back, the urge was gone. I did not want to trade anymore. The intensity had disappeared, so I started doing it intentionally. Every trade, movement. It sounds too simple, but it works. Because your body regulates your mind. And when you change your physical state, your emotional state changes with it. No matter what, after a trade concludes, find a way to physically stimulate yourself for 10 minutes and get away from the screen. When you look at the chart again after 10 minutes, you will feel less impulsive and thus make fewer mistakes. Habit 4. The boredom test. Wait 5 more minutes. That is it. That is the whole habit. You see a setup. It looks ready. You want to enter. But instead of entering immediately, you set a timer. 5 minutes. If the setup is still valid after 5 minutes, you take it. If it is not, you just saved yourself from an impatience trade. This habit eliminates about 30% of my bad trades. Because most of the trades I regret are the ones I took out of impatience, out of FOMO, out of I need to do something right now. But when you force yourself to wait, even just 5 minutes, that urgency fades. And if the setup is real, it will still be there. And if it was not real, it will show you. Price will move away, the structure will break, and you will realize you were about to chase. The 5-minute rule is not about finding better setups. It is about filtering out the trades that only looked good because you were bored, or impatient, or desperate. Waiting costs you nothing, but entering too early costs you everything. So wait 5 minutes. Unless, of course, you are trading second charts, because then the trade may have already reached its target. Wait 5 minutes and make sure the trade still looks as good as it did when you first looked, and thus you will inevitably feed the correct behavior pattern by being patient. You will start acting less impulsive, you will constantly prove that you have superiority over your emotions, and their effect on you will decrease every day. No matter what kind of setup it is, no matter what emotion it triggers, after all conditions are met, wait 5 more minutes. This way, you will train yourself against acting impulsively. Your fear of missing out will decrease more and more every day and disappear. Tame yourself. Rein in the emotional monster inside you. Habit 5. Sleep-gated trading. No 7 hours, no real money. This is non-negotiable. If I do not get at least 7 hours of sleep, I am not allowed to trade my live account. I can paper trade, I can watch, I can study, but I cannot risk real money. And I track this. I wear a watch that monitors sleep, so I cannot lie to myself. The data is there, and here's what I learned. Every single time I traded on less than 7 hours of sleep, my decision-making collapsed. I broke rules I would never break when rested. I took trades I would never take. I exited early out of fear. I held losers out of hope. Not because I did not know better, because my biology was compromised. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that handles logic and impulse control, shuts down when you are sleep deprived. And when that happens, discipline is not a choice anymore. It is impossible. So I stopped trying to override biology with willpower. I just made sleep the gatekeeper. If I am rested, I can trade. If I am not, I cannot. And that one rule has saved me more money than any strategy ever did. So observe your biology. This may not be sleep for you. Maybe sleep deprivation does not affect you that much. Other things may affect you. And when you find those things, teach yourself not to trade when those situations are active. For example, if you are someone who starts trading directly when you open the chart and you are prone to making wrong decisions in the first 10 minutes, simply forbid yourself from taking trades in the first 10 minutes. And just observe for the first 10 minutes. Catch the moments you make mistakes. Find the triggers, biological or psychological, and intervene at the moments those things appear. Habit 6. The energy budget spreadsheet. Most traders track trades. I track energy. Before every session, I rate my mental energy on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is sharp, focused, clear. 1 is exhausted, scattered, foggy. And I write it down. Then, at the end of the week, I compare my energy ratings to my trading results. And the pattern was undeniable. When my energy was below 6, my error rate was 80% higher. I broke more rules. I took worse trades. I managed trades poorly. Not because I did not know what to do, because I did not have the mental bandwidth to do it. This habit creates self-awareness that feelings cannot give you. Because in the moment, you do not always realize you are operating at low capacity. You think you are fine. But the data does not lie. Now, if my energy is below 6, I do not trade, or I trade smaller size. Or I limit myself to one trade, because I know the odds are stacked against me, not because the market changed, because I changed. And trading is not just about reading the market, it is about reading yourself. So observe yourself and rate your focus and energy before the session. Then note this score along with the results you will get, and as you accumulate data, check. Is there a correlation between days when your energy is low and making wrong decisions or not? If there is, you know what you need to do. Habit 7. The waiting list. This solves FOMO. You see a setup, but it is not confirmed yet. Instead of entering early or obsessing over it, you write it down. In a spreadsheet or a notebook. Setup name. Time. What you are waiting for. Then you move on. Later, you come back and check. Did it confirm? Did you take it? Did it work? This does two things. First, it removes the emotional urgency. You acknowledge the setup. You did not ignore it. So your brain stops screaming at you that you are missing out. Second, it creates data. Over time, you start seeing patterns. You realize that 70% of the setups you almost took but did not confirm ended up stopping out. And that proves that waiting was the right call. This habit turns fear of missing out into evidence, and evidence is stronger than emotion. So create a list for yourself, and check as steps are completed. For example, higher time frame came to the shape I wanted. Check. The lower time frame liquidity grab I was waiting for happened. Check. Market structure changed. Check. I entered the limit order. Check. Moving forward step by step like this and progressing by checking each criterion protects you from FOMO and reduces your probability of making mistakes. Make it concrete. Habit 8. The why document. Before every session, I write one sentence. Why am I trading today? And I have to be honest. If the answer is because I am bored, I do not trade. If the answer is because I need to make money, I do not trade. If the answer is because my system has valid setups and conditions align, then I trade. This habit forces intention, because most of the time, we trade for the wrong reasons. We trade because we feel like we should, because we are sitting in front of the screen, because we do not want to waste the day. But those are not reasons. Those are excuses. And trades taken from excuses lose money. This one-sentence filter has stopped me from trading on more days than I can count. And every time I skip a session because my why was wrong, I save myself from damage. I also want to add this. If you have made your system mechanical enough, the why question may become less important. Even on a day when you feel bad, you can operate your system correctly. But there is a possibility you will make mistakes. And if you have a system that is not mechanical enough, your probability of making mistakes is higher, because interpretation can enter. And interpretation entering means emotion entering. You can be manipulated. Because we want to operate our system independent of everything, I say everything should be as mechanical as possible. Because when it is, interpretations become insignificant. Either it exists or it does not. There is no room left for interpretation. A video explaining how to make your system completely mechanical will also come. Stay tuned. Let us continue. Habit 9. The cost visualization board. I calculated the average cost of breaking my rules based on my journal data. Every time I moved a stop, it cost me an average of $427. Every time I took a revenge trade, $630. Every time I entered without HTF confirmation, $315. I printed these numbers. Big. Bold, and I taped them next to my monitor. Now, every time I am tempted to break a rule, I see the cost. Not abstract. Not maybe I will lose. Concrete. You are about to throw away $427. That makes it real. That makes it visceral. And visceral beats abstract every time. Understand well the costs of your mistakes, of breaking your discipline. Do not just note them and move on. Constantly confront them. Expose yourself to them, so you can be stricter next time. Habit 10. Opposite day. Once a month, I paper trade the exact opposite of my system. If my system says long, I go short. If it says wait, I enter. If it says enter, I wait, and I track the results. And every single time, the opposite system loses. Badly. And that is the point, because when you see your edge work, it is easy to doubt it during a losing streak. But when you see the opposite fail, it proves something. It proves that your system is not random. It proves that the rules matter. It proves that discipline is not optional. This habit reinforces belief, not blind belief, evidence-based belief. And belief is what keeps you following the system when it is hard. Here is what these 10 habits have in common. None of them require willpower. None of them ask you to be stronger or tougher or more committed. They remove the decision, they make the wrong thing harder and the right thing easier. And that is the only way discipline actually works. You do not build discipline by trying harder. You build it by designing a system where you cannot fail, even if you tried. Install these 10 habits. Let them force you. And watch discipline stop being a struggle and start being inevitable. And you may not find some of these 10 habits logical. You may say, this is ridiculous, who would bother with this? I will not judge you. Develop your own methods. Build ways to keep you alive against the markets. Identify your weaknesses. Observe the times when your tendency to make mistakes increases, and produce solutions to eliminate them. I want to give an example for myself. There was a period when I was day trading the NASDAQ pair in the New York session with high trade frequency. Every day I was taking 5 to 15 trades. And if my daily bias was correct, I would usually close in profit. But what most determined how much profit I would close with, or how much minus I would close with, was toward the end of the New York session. Because in addition to taking frequent trades, I was doing this for 5 to 6 hours until the close. And as the close approached, my probability of making mistakes clearly increased. Most of the time, I was eroding the profit I had accumulated toward the close. My performance toward the close decreased because I got tired, I got hungry, and in short, I was exhausted. So even if a good setup came, it did not mean anything. But I wanted to trade, and I did, but in an exhausted state. And this made no sense at all. As a solution, I either had to trade the entire New York session but take fewer trades, or I had to trade a more specific time of the New York session. I switched to a simpler and more effective strategy that produced fewer trades, and I set 3 as my trade limit. But if I got 2 wins, I closed the day. If I got 2 losses, same thing. If I got 1 win and 1 loss, I could only take the 3rd trade. And my system was very simple. I plan to explain it in future videos. It was so simple I can explain it to you in 5 minutes. And being this simple and easy will not make it attractive in people's eyes. But this system made me profitable easily, because it is a system that is easy to apply and mechanical at every moment. No interpretation. I only have interpretation as daily bias. And if my interpretation as daily bias was correct and a trade opportunity formed, it was almost certain I would close that day in profit. The data said this. In short, everything came better this way. I explain this for this reason. When I switched to this system, I became less tired. I was expending less effort. But I was more disciplined. I was making more money. Not looking at the screen like before and not watching 1-minute charts did not feel unproductive anymore. So I did not have to get more tired to be more disciplined and profitable. I understood this clearly. You do not have to completely change your system. Make it more applicable. Keep your criteria count to a minimum. If taking 20 trades forces you to make mistakes, stop taking 20 trades. Set a trade limit, or trade in a more restricted time. So in short, whatever you do, your rules and habits should be according to your own needs. They should be in a way that eliminates your own weaknesses. There is not even a single day anymore when I feel exhausted like before. Because the maximum effort I will expend is known before each session even starts. I will take at most 3 trades, and the screen will close. And if my criteria are met, this is how it is. If my criteria do not exist, that does not exist either. I saw what happens when I try to take 20 trades. But if I had seen the reason for this, not as taking 20 trades exhausting me and making me make mistakes, but as something else, I would still be trying to be profitable by taking 20 trades. This is what I wanted to explain. Maybe the problem is not you, it is the way you are trying to trade. Think about that. If you watch this far, I have full faith that you will be profitable one day, because you are doing everything for it. I will pray for you. See you in the next video.